With blooming flowers and budding trees becoming more prevalent day by day, so is the presence of airborne pollen. In this week's Weatherwise, Jared and I break down the ins and outs of spring pollen, including how weather can affect the timing and intensity of peak pollen levels. Pollen may be a nightmare for those who deal with seasonal allergies, but in the grand scheme of nature, it's actually a good thing. It plays a vital role in plant reproduction and supports entire ecosystems. In the spring, trees are some of the biggest pollinators, releasing tons of pollen into the air, and as the seasons shift, ragweed takes over in the late summer and fall. And when it comes to trying to manage your allergies, the weather does have an impact on how pollen behaves. That's why you need to stay up to date with your local forecast so you can stay ahead of this allergy season. For example, a sudden warm up after a stretch of cold weather can trigger a burst of blooming flowers and trees that react to the temperature change by releasing pollen. Windy days can make things worse as the wind is able to carry the lightweight pollen for miles and can keep it airborne for quite some time. On the other hand, rain can offer temporary relief by washing pollen out.
Early April showers and cold snaps have kept local pollen levels in check thus far, with this week's scattered frost leaving some blooms dulled and wilted, and others completely untouched. Even with the recent cold spells, pollen levels have begun to come up in terms of that tree pollen across the Show Me State. As you can see here in far northern Missouri, we've been hanging out mainly in that moderate, getting into the higher territory, but those more extreme pollen levels are down in the Ozarks and the deep south. However, over the next 1 to 2 weeks, temperatures are likely to trend at or even well above average from the Great Plains emanating outwardly all the way across parts of the east. So with these warmer than normal numbers anticipated through really the rest of April, those pollen levels are certainly going to rise. The dreaded increase in pollen, a small price to pay for green lawns, fluorescent flowers, and warmer days to come.